It's 2006. Formula One is about to witness a rivalry you only see once in a generation. On one side, Michael Schumacher, 7 world titles, 91 race wins, the most feared driver the sport has ever seen. But this isn't just another season for him, it's his last. One final chance to leave the sport as champion. On the other side of things, Fernando Alonso, just 24 years old, the reigning world champion who ended Ferrari's 5-year reign the season before, determined to prove that 2005 wasn't a fluke, and to take down the legend one more time. From the very first race, it's clear. This isn't going to be a polite handover from one champion to the next. This is war. A war fought with speed, with strategy, with mind games, and with moments that would define both of their careers forever. And right from the opening round, the tone for the season was set. The 2005 season flipped Formula One on its head. For 5 straight years, Ferrari and Schumacher were untouchable. But last year, Alonso and Renault tore down the empire, beating the Tifosi at their own game. Schumacher had never taken defeat well. And now, the paddock was whispering that this could be his final season. One last shot at an 8th title before walking away. Renault turned up with the R26. Quick, consistent, and reliable. Ferrari had the 248 F1, lightning fast, but occasionally unpredictable, and the supporting cast was loaded. Felipe Massa joined Ferrari as Schumacher's new teammate. Kimi Raikkonen still hunted for a title at McLaren, and Giancarlo Fisichella wanted to prove he could go toe-to-toe with Alonso. 18 races stood between Alonso's defense and Schumacher's redemption, and from the very first lap of the season, neither man was willing to give the other an inch. And it didn't take long for a new battleground to emerge, one that could decide the title before either man realized it. The season roared to life in Bahrain. Right from the start, both teams made it clear they'd brought the firepower. Ferrari had the straight-line speed, Renault had the balance and the grip. Alonso struck first. A clever pit strategy put him ahead of Schumacher in round 1, a reminder that the champion wasn't backing down. But there was another fight happening this year. A fight between 2 tire giants. Renault ran Michelin, Ferrari ran Bridgestone. Some weekends the Michelins were untouchable. Other weekends, the Bridgestones came alive and Ferrari hit back hard. By the time the championship reached Shanghai, the tire war was everything. In wet qualifying, Michelin had the edge. But as the track dried, Schumacher's Bridgestones gripped like glue. He hunted Alonso down, took the win, and tied the points. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. The old king was still dangerous, and just when the fight seemed purely about pace, the season delivered its first real explosion. Monaco, fast, technical, and unforgiving. A track where qualifying isn't just important, it's the whole race. Alonso was flying. Schumacher was under pressure. Then, in the dying seconds of qualifying, it happened. Schumacher locked up at Rascasse. The car slid and stopped, blocking the track. Yellow flags went out. Nobody could finish their laps. And just like that, Schumacher was still on provisional pole. The paddock erupted. Alonso was furious. Rivals called it cheap. The media tore him apart. After hours of investigation, the stewards made their call. Deliberate or not, Schumacher was stripped of pole and sent to the very back. It was a massive blow, and it made the rivalry personal. From that moment on, this wasn't just about winning races, it was about breaking the other man's spirit. By the middle of the year, you could see exactly how this title fight worked. Alonso's Renault, it just kept going. Didn't matter if it was a win, a second, or a third, the points kept stacking up. No drama, no breakdowns. Ferrari's 248 F1 was a different beast. When it worked, it was devastatingly quick. But when it didn't, it was heartbreak waiting to happen. Schumacher wasn't interested in collecting safe points. He wanted wins. If there was a gap, he went for it, no matter the risk. Alonso played it cooler, rarely rattled, happy to let Schumacher take the wild swings while he quietly built his lead. 2 completely different ways to fight for a championship. And you just knew it was going to blow up before the year was over. And when it did, it happened in brutal, heartbreaking fashion. Suzuka, fast, technical, and unforgiving. one of Schumacher's favourite tracks, and for most of the weekend, it looked like the perfect place to turn the title fight in his favour. The Ferrari was quick, Bridgestone had the better tyres, Schumacher was in total control. When the lights went out, it was classic Michael. Perfect start, perfect pace. Alonso was behind, but never close enough to threaten. Lap after lap, the gap grew. The pit wall was calm. The win and the championship swing was in the bag. Then, lap 37. A puff of smoke drifted from the back of the Ferrari. At first, you could pretend it was nothing, but seconds later, more smoke, and then silence. The engine was gone, just like that. Schumacher coasted to a stop, helmet still on, standing next to the dead car. You could almost feel the anger radiating off him. This wasn't just a DNF, it was the first Ferrari engine failure in years, and it came at the worst possible moment. Alonso swept past, took the win, and reopened the gap in the standings. That tiny puff of smoke might have been the exact moment the 2006 championship was decided. And with one race left, the only thing Schumacher had left was a final shot at glory. Interlagos. Hot, chaotic, and unpredictable. The perfect place for a season finale, and the last race of Michael Schumacher's career. The odds were stacked against him. After Suzuka, the gap to Alonso was huge. He needed a miracle. Qualifying didn't help. A technical problem left him starting down in 10th. Alonso? He just needed to cruise home in the points to keep the crown. But when the lights went out, Schumacher reminded everyone who he was. Aggressive off the line, late braking into every corner. By lap 10, he'd already carved his way up to 6th. Then disaster, again. A rear tyre puncture. The car limped back to the pits, and by the time he rejoined, he was 19th. Any other driver would have switched to damage control. But Michael, he went hunting. One overtake, then another. Wheel to wheel with Raikkonen, forcing the McLaren wide, sliding past Fisichella with a move only Schumacher would dare pull. It was relentless, it was angry, and it was pure theatre. By the checkered flag, he dragged that Ferrari back to 4th. No 8th title, no fairy tale ending. But one final reminder, this was a man who never ever stopped fighting. Alonso crossed the line to seal his second championship. Schumacher waved to the crowd, knowing this was it. And just like that, the curtain fell on one of Formula One's greatest rivalries. The 2006 Formula One season had everything. A generational rivalry, a legend in his final fight, a young champion proving he belonged. There were controversies, mind games, and title swings that could change in the blink of an eye. Alonso's cool, methodical point scoring, Schumacher's all-or-nothing attacks, two completely different approaches, colliding over 18 races. It came down to moments, a puff of smoke in Suzuka, a blocked corner in Monaco, a puncture in Brazil. And in the end, Alonso left with his second world championship. Schumacher walked away without the crown, but with his reputation as one of the fiercest competitors the sport had ever seen. 2006 isn't talked about like 89 or 2021, but it should be, because for pure drama, controversy, and emotion, it was one of the greatest seasons Formula One has ever seen.